Hey! How's it going, everyone? I hope it's going well. I see there's some people here. I don't know if Sequoia posted the link everywhere, but I guess y'all found it, so that's a good sign, right? I'm very excited to be back on this bullshit. Yeah, nice. Give everyone a couple minutes to get in. How's everyone doing on this fine Sunday? Ooh. Hey, everyone. Story time bingo. Oh, interesting. That's interesting. I don't know how well that's gonna work with this story. This is a very targeted story. So, hey, everyone. Oh, I'm glad you're all making it in. This is good. It's good. We haven't done one of these in a while, so it's nice to be back. We almost died because of Yes Glitter, but we survived to do more stupid shit. Um, nice. So, in case you're not familiar, oh, the link is everywhere. Okay, cool. The In case you're not familiar, what we're going to be doing today is I'm going to be reading a fan fiction written by one of you, our lovely listeners, and sent to us fairly recently, actually. This one was inspired by. Let me get a little closer to the mic. Here we go. This one was inspired by some bullshit I was yelling on the podcast recently. And that apparently caused someone to write some shit in the middle of the night. I'm excited. So shout out to, I don't know if they're here or not. Shout out to Jordan. They tweeted at us that they were writing this and then did email it to us, thankfully. So I'm very excited to read it. It's some weird stuff. Let's pop out the chat so I can go over to that doc. Cool, cool. Alrighty. Everything's been written in the middle of the night. Yeah, that checks out. I think this person maybe got a little possessed by by an idea. I'm gonna stop being coy. The idea that this person was inspired by was me yelling about Rita Skeeter slash Umbridge. So if you all remember that, that was in a cold open recently. I was screaming about it. Didn't really have much to say, but oh, but here we go. I guess we can let's get started. Let's get started. Seems like YouTube's not going to kick me off today, so yeah, it's exciting to have all you here. I haven't done one of these in a very long time. I mean, you're all welcome to do predictions. This story is untitled. um yeah, let's go ahead and get started. I think it seems like YouTube's not going to kick me today, so let's do this thing. Been fighting with the pop filter for a little while. Oh well. Here we go. Dolores Umbridge didn't get nervous. She was Senior Undersecretary to the Minister of Magic, a highly respected member of the Wizenmont, and first ever High Inquisitor at Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry. If all went as planned this year, she would be headmistress as well. She did not get worked up over tea with a witch. Even if that witch was beautiful and ambitious and equally committed to the downfall of that Potter brat. Dolores Umbridge didn't get nervous about having tea with the witch with whom she had spent 9 glorious nights and one unspeakable Sunday afternoon. She had to take the cat plates off her office walls. She'd had to take the cat plates off her office walls to keep them from seeing what was happening on her desk. Dolores Umbridge wouldn't get nervous. even if it was the 1-month anniversary and they hadn't officially labeled what they were doing? She wouldn't get nervous about meeting for the first time in public together, even if they were finally going to have the talk. She looked around Madame Puttyfoot's tea shop at all of the spit-swapping couples tangled up in each other's tongues and rolled her eyes. The talk didn't make Dolores Umbridge nervous. She was powerful, influential, revered. Something she tried to remind herself as she anxiously ran her fingertip along the edge of her teacup and huffed disbelievingly at a small chip around the rim. Excuse me, she said, clearing her throat in a small attention grabbing cough and waving a handkerchief at a passing server. But I think you must have made a mistake. The server, clearly only a year or two out of Hogwarts with several piercings and colorful strands of hair pulled back messily into a bun, stopped abruptly and looked expectantly at the table where the chipped teacup sat. She was walking slowly, as if she had nowhere to be, with her wand in the air and a trail of dishes hovering behind her as she made her way to the kitchen. She looked like she probably smoked gillyweed, or what had she caught the snot-nosed Hufflepuff Zacharias Smith doing the other night? Ah, yes, snorting crushed sugar quills. Stupid, I like that. This waitress definitely seemed the type. Why had no one taken the time to teach these young people how to behave properly? I'm sorry, the delinquent server responded, chewing gum in between words. But, like, you said you were still waiting on your date. I don't, really see how there could be a mistake if you haven't even, ordered yet. This response seemed to have given Dolores Umbridge exactly the resolve she needed. She pursed her lips and very sweetly forced a smile in the server's direction. Yes, my dear. Well, as I am sure the amount of things you cannot begin to comprehend must be a great deal. You'll forgive me for not being surprised that you do not understand that you can make any number of mistakes before actually serving my tea, said Umbridge, folding the napkin in her lap neatly and placing it next to the chipped teacup. The server stared blankly back at her. Umbridge cleared her throat before continuing. To start, I am quite certain that I never mentioned being here on a date. And I'm sorry to see that no one has taught you how terribly rude it is to make assumptions. Furthermore, Umbridge pointed a long, painted pink fingernail at the teacup in front of her. This cup is damaged and is by no means suitable for a meeting. Now, I could easily repair this mug on my own, but as I am paying you to provide me with a professional atmosphere and experience, Umbridge went on, it seems it would fall on you to rectify your own mistake. Certainly, I would be doing you a disservice by fixing it for you. The server smacked her gum and looked around the tea shop. Several couples had disengaged from their own romantic embraces and were now staring over at Umbridge's table. So, you want me to get you a new teacup? Umbridge spoke slowly this time, as if the server could not understand the words she was saying. Yes, a new teacup. Honestly, girl, I don't see how I could be any plainer. While you're at it, do something with that hair before you come to take my order. You look like you lost in a brawl against a banshee. The server popped her gum. Right. I'll, get that out of your way and get you a new cup before your, not date gets here. The server shrugged and flicked her wand, and the chipped teacup joined the rest of the dishes the server was levitating behind her. Umbridge suddenly got to her feet, her face red, and pointed another painted finger at the server. It's not A date, she yelled, and the hovering dishes fell to the floor as the server took a frightened step away from the table. No sooner had the dishes shattered than the door to the tea shop swung open. A tall, blonde witch in bold colors and a deep red lipstick appeared at the entrance, a quill vibrating slightly from its spot behind the witch's ear. Dolores Umbridge, what's the story behind all of this? Umbridge swallowed and looked up at a beaming Rita Skeeter and was instantly at a loss for words. Oh, she cleared her throat. Influential, revered. Get it together, Dolores. Nothing, Rita, just a little misunderstanding with the waitstaff. The service here is nothing to write home about, I'll tell you. I have half a mind to write a letter to Carolina Hagsworth in the Better Wizard Business Bureau when we leave here to have this place checked out. I mean, you've heard the rumors, I'm sure, about what Madam P gets up to. You're rambling, Dolores. Influential, powerful, revered. Anyway, it was quite nothing. Evanesco, Dolores said with a flourish of her wand, and the dishes on the ground disappeared. She looked to the server, still sitting on the ground, chewing her gum, looking incredulously between Rita Skeeter and Umbridge. Up you get, child, please. We'll have 2 tea, mine with 4 sugars and a dash of milk. Hers will be black, thank you, Dolores said, as if nothing had transpired between herself and the server. Right. I'll be, right back then. Dolores wiped her sweaty hands in the neatly folded napkin still sitting on the table and gestured for Rita to set down her giant handbag and sit across from her. Let me know if you send that letter to old Hagsworth, Skeeter said, smirking as she sat. I'm sure I could find a good angle of if the place gets closed down. Dolores stared for a moment at the way Rita's abnormally lavish hat seemed to bring out her eyes, and was about to respond when the server came back with their tea, her hair out of its bun and instead worn down in an even messier style. Have a good... She paused and smacked her gum, giving Umbridge a pointed look. Meeting. Umbridge pursed her lips as the server walked away, looking rather pleased with herself. Across from her, Rita took a rather loud, slurping sip from her coffee, and Dolores was instantly enchanted once again. So, I gotta tell you, it was one hell of a day. I got a tip about some potential illicit dealings down on Nocturne, something about a dragon fighting ring and a couple of counterfeit galleons. All get untoward, you know. But I get down there and start asking questions, and this bloke comes up trying to get me to bugger off, and I says to him... Dolores took a sip of her tea and briefly found herself completely distracted by the way Rita's red lips moved so rapidly when she talked. She couldn't help but think about the stack of cat plates still stacked beneath a spare cloak in the corner of her office. She would hate for those innocent, precious souls to be a witness to all of the, well, frankly, dirty things that Dolores wanted to do to those red lips. But she wanted more than just a hot tryst with the most amazing, beautiful, smart, ambitious, and quite possibly only reporter in the wizarding world. She wanted a relationship. She knew it would be letting Fudge down to be distracted by a silly little thing like love, but Cornelius would just have to see reason. Or perhaps he would just need to see Rita in that black skirt. Either way, eventually, he would just have to accept that Dolores Umbridge was the kind of woman who would be able to do it all. Relationship and successful career. She needed to know if Rita also wanted to have it all. And then they could start planning. Maybe get a house and a few hundred cats. Rita could turn the attic into a writing studio. They could have a garden. She knew Rita really loved ladybugs. She'd told her so on their first night together, when they had bumped into each other on the outskirts of Hogsmeade, and Rita had popped up out of nowhere next to a tall bit of grass and... Then he tried to offer me this bloody thing, and I know you can appreciate that I am in no way above bribery. Rita raised her eyebrows, reached for her handbag, and Dolores was brought back to the present. She cut Rita off. She couldn't take it anymore. Rita, is this a date? Dolores asked, louder than she meant to, the server from before eyeing her from a few tables over. She lowered her voice. I mean, I'm sorry. Are we dating? Rita stared at her. Her jaw dropped and said nothing. Dolores fidgeted uncomfortably. Right. Well, Dolores said after Rita still made no reply. Of course, it was inappropriate for me to ask, and I can see why you would be intimidated by my status. I honestly just asked to tell you that I can't get involved with anyone right now because my loyalty must begin and end with the ministry, so. Umbridge's voice cracked. I'll just pay for my tea and be on my way. Dolores waved for the server, who seemed to be giving her an embarrassingly sympathetic look, which made Dolores even angrier than she had been before. She bit her lip and avoided looking at Rita, who shook her head at the server to prevent her from coming over. Hastily, Rita reached out and touched Dolores' hand to stop her from grabbing her money pouch. Dolores felt like she had never known magic before this moment. Dolores, doll, slow down, said Rita, who, if Umbridge wasn't imagining things, also sounded worked up, nervous even. Listen, I, wanted to, well, I've got something to give you. Rita looked panicked, and Dolores, for a moment, let herself feel relaxed by the knowledge that their relationship had the same effect on both of them. Rita reached for her handbag and began pulling out items in search of Dolores' gift. Out on the table, she laid out a long cigarette holder, a notepad, 3 leaves with strange holes that looked like an insect had eaten through them, a glass jar, 4 quills, and then, finally, from the bottom of her purse, a heart-shaped locket with the letter S engraved, the chain tangled. Sorry, it's got a little, messed up on the way over here. It's a family heirloom, you see. It's got the S for Skeeter. Rita looked relieved suddenly. Yeah, the S is for Skeeter, and it's tradition to give this locket to someone to express undying love and commitment to, a relationship and a house with a writing attic and several cats, Umbridge whispered, reaching for the locket and untangling the chain. Rita swallowed and rubbed her neck. Yeah, exactly. Dolores put the necklace on and suddenly felt more powerful, TM, than ever before. Is this what true love felt like? She looked up at Rita, her red lips caught between her teeth nervously, and then back down at the necklace. Recklessly, Dolores followed her sudden impulse and leaned across the table and parted those red lips with her own chapped mauve lips. She took the opportunity to deepen the kiss when she felt the necklace vibrate with the power of this new love, sliding her tongue into Rita's mouth. Then, out of nowhere, the server once again returned and cleared her throat loudly. Rita and Dolores briefly separated to look up at the delinquent girl once again. Sorry to interrupt what clearly, wasn't a date, but we're closing. It wasn't until that moment that Dolores realized that they had spent 5 hours snogging in a booth at the tea shop like a bumbling 6th-year idiot. And the locket seemed to be whispering that she should keep going. Dolores looked at Rita, whose hat was no longer on her head, but on the ground next to all of the other belongings they had knocked off the table in the process of their incredible makeout session. Dolores narrowed her eyes at the server. My dear, I'm not sure why you have such a hard time understanding the obvious, she said sweetly. But I think even someone with an intellect as lacking as yours can tell that this was a date. The server blinked. Right. she said finally, popping her gum for the last time. Dolores whispered something into Rita's ear about her office being empty and laid a few sickles on the table. She knew she had nothing to be nervous about. And then we have an author's note here at the end. The end. It is 2:23 a.m. here, and I have work in the morning. Oh my god. Thank you so much, Jordan. This is an incredible story, and I love it when people write the stupid shit that I scream about. So thank you so much for sending us this. I hope every one of you enjoyed this silly thing that we've done. Yeah, this was some good cursed content, I thought. Good way to reopen the storybook with a curse. Oh, it was so nice seeing you all, and I hope you liked it. I hope you liked those dumb voices that I made up, while I was doing this. Ooh, and, thanks for joining us. I think Sequoia and I have to go. We're maybe recording a bonus episode for Patreon now. Gonna take this energy to that and do that. Next month, another story time, says Sequoia. We'll figure that out then. Oh, man. Awesome. Cool. Well, thanks for joining us. I'm gonna sign off now. Bye, everyone.